Nocturnal. So right now we have her up right now. We have her in a, what we call a, oh, by the way, sugar gliders, when they come out, they tend to pee and poop on you. I think it's kind of like humans, you have to pee, but it's also a defense mechanism. It's like, ew, I'm gonna smell like pee, so don't touch me type of thing. Sugar gliders are nocturnal. We have ours in a night mode. So we have rotated their schedule. We switched it from day to night. So she's normally sleeping at this time, but because her room is dark, she's now awake when we're awake. This way, when we take her out, we're not kind of annoying her. So sugar gliders are Pitoris breviceps. They're part of the possum species of 5 lesser possums of the marsupials. So it's all the breakdown of what their species is the Pitoris breviceps. So that being said, they're part of the marsupials, which are part of my brain is just not functioning right. They're part of marsupials, which is part of the kangaroos, the opossums, the possums, the koala bears. There's there's so many different species in them. But one of the things that they have is most of them, and I can't say all of them, have pouches. And you can zoom in on the pouch better. Can you see her pouch? Okay, so that's her pouch. She's a girl, she's got a pouch. Boys do not have pouches. And that separates marsupials from most other animals. However, some opossum, like opossum species and possums do not have pouches. Some of them do. So I know it's weird to say that she is part of the possum species, which is weird. She doesn't look like a possum. However, marsupials, if you look them up, there's so many different varieties. They look so different. But there's actually 2 other that I know of, mahogany and yellow belly sugar glider. She's one of the species that is less endangered. She's not endangered at all, so she is less. The mahogany and the yellow belly are closer to the endangered species than threatened. She is not threatened at all. In fact, the animals in the wild, where she comes from, is Australia, New Guinea, and she's actually only from the eastern side of Australia because she needs trees, and that's where all the trees are. She's not going to be in the desert type areas. They live in the trees. You can see. They barely ever will touch the ground because that's where they're safest, in the trees, because they're called sugar gliders. They can glide. So she really wants to come back. So sugar gliders have this membrane that stretches out when they're ready to glide. We'll try to see if we can get her to glide to Ashley here in a second. But they have this membrane that helps them glide out. Now, what also helps them is they'll stretch out their arms because it runs from their wrists to their ankles. They stretch out their arms, a big flap of skin, and then they use their really long tail as a rudder. And it'll glide them where they need to go. She really wants to glide, so we're going to try to get her to glide for us. Well, look at Daddy.
Come on, baby.
Look at Daddy.
Come
Look at Daddy.
Go. Come on.
Look at Daddy.
Go.
Okay, Daddy. Huh? Hey, you can do it. Look at me. Go. Yes, you did. Go. Look at Ashley. Hi. You got it. Go get her. No? She's like, still want to go warm. Come on, go get Ashley. There you go. You're thinking about it. Yeah. So their name actually, the research I found was long-headed or short-headed springboard. And you can tell because they bounce. If you notice, every time she went to go do it, she stuck her head out and she got ready to bounce. There you go. Good girl. I don't know if you could really see her flaps really come out. Acacium, I believe, is the name of their flaps, the membrane does it. Now, in the wild, they can jump and glide up to 150 feet. Now, it really depends on how high they are. It sounds really impressive, but imagine being up super high in the air and then having these big wings almost, and then gliding. So she can glide really far if she's really high up in the air. But typically, they're just jumping from tree to tree, trying to get away from predators. Now, her predators are birds, owls, and feral house cats, amazingly enough, which obviously, I'm sure, tons of years. You're not going into water. You do not want to go into water. She's trying to go into the turtle tanks. That's not a good idea. You want Ashley to come back? You want to jump to Ashley again? One thing that they're doing, which I think is pretty impressive, is that they are actually killing out a native bird species. They are eating all the hatchlings in there. They go in at night because they're nocturnal. And they are eating all of the babies and the hatchlings. So they are omnivores. They will eat birds, they will eat rodents, but they also love fruits, they love sweet things, they'll eat the nectar from flowers. You're just being a good girl. You're just having fun.
Yeah.
You're having fun.
You do it again.
That was a good one, Coco. What's great about their feet, and I don't know if you can try to zoom in again for their feet, on their front, or they're just normal. On the back, she's got a little thumb, and then right there, she has one little finger that has two claws. Now the two claws are the same thing that kangaroos also have, and it acts as a brush. So they are super neat, clean animals, and they love to groom themselves, and that's what they do. They literally take their hind legs, woo, and they will brush themselves, which is pretty cool. Now, will brush themselves, which is pretty cool. Now, as most nocturnal species, if you've ever noticed or looked at nocturnal species, is the big eyes. You can focus on her too. She's got huge eyes, and that's so that they can see at night. So needless to say, during the day, the light is a little bit harsher on them. And just are you both on both of them? Focus on her. No one cares about me. So when they're birthing, their gestation period is only 16 days, but their babies come out super, super tiny, and just like most marsupials who have pouches, they squiggle up from the vagina and come up the pouch, up the front of the pouch, and then climb into the pouch, and that's where they stay then for another 60 to 70 days. And then they'll actually stay with the mom or the whole group, because they do live in large groups, for another 7 to 8 months. So they do live in larger groups of 7 to 10. Typically there's mostly males with a couple females, like seven males type of thing. And then the females, and then all their babies. So that's just the adults is 7 to 10, and then they have all the little babies that stay with them, and then they branch out to go into the rest. Now, her coloring is not natural to Australia per se. Honestly, if she was out in the wild, she'd probably be picked up a lot quicker because animals are able to see her a lot easier. They're normally browns and grays, and they all have a whiter belly. And the reason being is when they're up above, the animals looking up are seeing white, which is kind of similar to the sky and clouds, as opposed to when they're looking down, they're going to be seeing the gray and the stripes and the browns, which is more like leaf matter at the bottom. So that's kind of how they hide. They will hide in burrows in trees. They love their pouches. That's why she's got a pouch. We'll go through a care video at a later date.
There you go. I forgot where you were.
They also mark their territory. Their territory ranges about 2 miles. And they actually have a little, I think it's a cloaca that drops down, and I'm going to go like this. It goes like this. Doop, 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 and it drops little drops of pee, and it scents the area so that they know that they're entering their correct area and not someone else's territory. They're not in another sugar glider's territory, so they can find each other. So she's being super active today because she was like, okay, I'm ready to go to bed. We're going to give her something to eat so you guys can see how she eats as well. I'm going to go get that while she goes and plays.
Hungry? She's so busy. She's such a busy girl.
So this one's, some people might want to change the channel at this point. Go Keith.
It is.
You don't want it?
But
you're not hungry?
did you eat all your wormies? Normally
Usually she goes crazy for
Yeah.
him.
Here, Coco. Coco.
Oh, she's
Oh.
like, nope. I don't want it, Mom.
No.
Don't want it. You're just gonna step on it? Are you, you're just gonna hold on to it?
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
So if you see her eating, maybe
She's
not.
like, I'm too intrigued with the camera.
Usually she
and all
will
that's going
actually
on.
pick out all the good stuff inside, and she'll leave the shell, so she can completely
Come on, baby.
pull out all the guts and pick apart every little thing that she wants, and whatever she does not want, she leaves behind. And it's crazy. She can just leave the whole exoskeleton, and you wouldn't even know that she had eaten all the insides from it.
So even when they eat hard items, she gets a hard pellet as well, and then she gets a mixture of fruits and veggies and stuff. It's a mix, a specific diet for sugar gliders. But even when she has harder stuff, she actually picks out only what she can eat, and then she leaves these crunchy little bits. So she's basically pulling out all the juice and all the deliciousness from there. There you go, Coco. No. I killed a little baby. I killed a baby. You want it? No.
She's like,
Coco bean. So that's our little introduction to sugar gliders. I think I've hopefully hit on everything. Oh, one of their other things is their lifespan in the wild is only 4 to 5 years. In captivity is closer to 15. Coconut is 10 years old. Now they normally live in groups. She should be living in a pair. However, her sister died a number of years ago, and ever since then, we were told she was older than what we thought she was, and ended up being that they were wrong and we were right. But we didn't want to get her another mate, only for that mate to her to die, and then that mate to be left over. So we left her alone, and she actually is doing really, really great. She's never once self-mutilated herself. She always is eating. So she's one of the rare sugar gliders that actually has survived being on her own. And she's been on her own for 5 years. So, yeah, so that's sugar gliders, and I hope you guys enjoyed our video, and look out for the next one.